Hi, I'm Michelle from Quan Studio. I'm upstate. My daughter Elsie is holding the phone, and my stepdaughter is gonna, Bobby Jean is gonna field the questions. So I thought, I don't, my regular studio is in Brooklyn for about 4 years, and I've just started. My 2 year plan was to build a studio upstate, and because of the coronavirus and the shutdown, it's kind of turned into a 6 month plan. So I've been up here trying to build it out and get it together. And I thought that I could give you a tour of the new studio. So we could start with some pieces that I have in the yard. Um, let's see. So I have three bells. So when I first started making ceramics, my idea was that I envisioned them living outside. Um, and in my mind, you kind of saw them from like your kitchen window when you were doing your dishes. And it was just kind of a piece that was out in nature with the changing seasons and kind of the movement of the wind. So that kind of became a part of your landscape. So now that I have this place up here, which has actually been kind of a 15-year dream, um, I get to actually finally put things in the yard. Um, so it's kind of a big dream kind of coming true. So I put a few bells that I have. So this is the firefly bell. Um, the bells don't really ring on their own. You have to ring them, but I did actually just make some pieces. These brass discs. They're like a dish, and they hang from the bottom of the knocker. So I'm kind of hoping that the wind. I'm pretty sure the wind will catch the brass and make the sound. But I feel like the idea of the bell is really kind of a symbolic as well, so that ringing. I mean, they ring and they make good sounds, but I don't consider that kind of a necessity. I do suggest though that if you do hang your bells outside, the rope that I use is hemp rope, so it's a natural fiber, and you want to make sure, especially if it's getting wet and exposed to sun and snow, that you just randomly check your rope because I have a friend who's had a bell and I walked over and I just kind of yanked on it just to make sure. And you want to catch it before it actually rots and deteriorates and the bell falls to the ground. So this is a firefly. The fireflies actually came from a drawing of a firefly that I did, and this was the pattern that I made that would go to signify the light that the firefly made. And then I kind of got rid of the actual bug and just kept the firefly light, and that's why I call it firefly. This is the rainbow painted, kind of my idea of a rainbow. Um, I like the fact that it's um, inner and outer, so it kind of it's almost like a yin yang rainbow. Kind of goes both ways. Okay, and then this one is painted in Tibetan, and it says, "May all beings be happy." It's painted in indigo. Um, I am not a trained calligrapher of Tibetan calligraphy, but I do. I guess I've copied it for a long time, ever since I made jewelry. It's a beautiful. I love the fact that it's visually beautiful and you kind of know what it means, but it's not like right there. What else do I have out here? Oh, I have some rocks. Oh, I have a tusk. Yeah. So this is when I first got my studio in Brooklyn, my first studio. I made these tusks, and I kind of made them after reading something in the news and thinking about all the terrible things that we do to each other, and how I don't know, I didn't really know what to do with it, and I was thinking about elephants and the idea that we honor so many things, but we don't take care of them. So I made, oh look, a daddy long legs crawling on it. Whoop, scared him. So I kind of put this here, and I'm going to let it live and let the kind of greenery grow around it. I have some rocks over here. So I have 3 rocks, and I have some Shiva rocks in there and a crystal. This is, I think this is an Om Mani Padme, or this might be a Tara Om. Oh no, it's Om Mani Padme Hum Bowl. Rainbow rock, large painted rock, and then this is, I guess, a plant or a weed, but looks pretty nice. And then this, I think, is a walnut tree, a black walnut tree there. So this is the beginning of the black walnuts falling off. All right, so let's walk to the studio.
Do you want to tell us about your transition from Jeffrey Bean to Planet Brada?
Well, when I first went to New York, I went to school and then I worked in a restaurant for a couple of years. And then I started modeling, and I modeled for 6 years. And I eventually worked with Jeffrey Bean a lot, he was great. He was really supported, because eventually I started making jewelry, and he was super supportive of, and really loved the fact that I was doing a creative endeavor. And I had gotten tattoos during that time, and he really liked that. And he was just a really great human being. And then I transitioned full time into making jewelry, which I did for 12 years. And then when I left in 2003, I had my daughter, who was holding the phone, and now 16. And then I just, I think when she was a year and a half, I was like, okay, I need to make a living, and I need to do something. What am I going to do? And I had this idea actually to do a cloth diaper kind of business. It wasn't cloth though; it was this other material. I think it was fleece. And then I was getting all, just in my head about it. So I just decided to alleviate the stress. I would take a ceramics class, which is something I had kind of fantasized about since I took a class in 1991. And then once I started taking a class, it just kind of kept going from there. And, it's like I started spending 1 day at the studio, and then 2 days, and then 5 days, and then eventually got my own studio. So it's just kind of grown from there. All right, so here you go. So this is the outbuilding. Getting a new garage door, and I'm getting a new front door. Okay. I like to stand away because once there was a snake that was caught up in the door. Luckily, we got him released, and he was not hurt. So this is going to be the studio. It's kind of empty right now. These are pieces. All the equipment that I have is actually in the garage of the house, except I just got my new gas kiln delivered last week, which was crazy. And I've often thought that, being married to a gas kiln in your process is kind of a lot, because gas kilns are really expensive, they're really big. You just don't find them everywhere, although there are a lot of people that use them, but they're not nearly as widely found as an electric kiln. So your space has to be kind of built around your kiln to a certain degree. But it creates, the reason why the gas kiln is so great is because it creates, instead of it, if my work was fired in an electric kiln, the white backdrop of my pieces would be kind of a flat white with not a lot of variation. And then with the gas kiln, because it draws out, it's like an atmospheric firing, which is like fire and air together. It draws out the iron, and it creates a lot of depth and variation in color, which shows through underneath the white. So once you kind of get used to that, it's really hard to let go of. But I'm going to show you the gas kiln in a minute. So this is the studio. Here I set up a table. I was actually going to, oh, thanks, Brad. Um, I can't wait till Brad can come here. So do some. I like to do lino prints, and I made. They're actually up on the site of Field and Supply, and I do them in pink and in black. And I want to kind of. It's like a project. It's kind of like a personal project that I love to do, and I really want to develop more. I'd love to do woodblock prints. Maybe someday I'll. Oh. So it's kind of a pet project doing lino cut prints. I mean, I eventually would love to do woodblock prints, but I'm sure that's a whole nother endeavor. Maybe someday once I get settled. So I was going to do some printing here. And then I have a piece that I have to ship out tomorrow, and I brought the ropes. So I rigged up a place where I could do my macrame. The macrame, I taped it on the edges because the bar flies all over the place, and usually I use a longer bar in place of the actual bar, so that I have more. I can just be rougher with it, but in this case it's fine. So maybe if we have time, I'll knot a couple knots. So the kiln. So we put these doors in, which is pretty nice, so I can have more light. Here is get this out of here. So here's the gas kiln. It comes from Bailey Ceramics, which is in Kingston, which is really close to me, like 25 minutes. So it was really nice that I could buy a kiln that was local. I kind of looked into a different kiln that a lot of people thought was great, but it comes from Europe, and I just kind of thought that to be local is support local businesses is kind of great. And Bailey makes great kilns, and so here you go. Here's my new baby, the gas kiln. I think it weighs about 2,800 pounds.
Question.
Yes.
Patricia, you always have so many great ideas. Where do you get all of your inspiration from?
Oh, I think that okay, so inspiration kind of comes from. I think that once you find your thread, you find your kind of like direction, which is kind of that's the hard part, is finding your direction. You work and you try lots of different things. I always feel like the more you do, the better chances you're going to have of finding kind of a pathway in. And you might find many pathways in, but you'll know when, after exploring, then you'll know which one you want to follow. And then once you find that, it really is just kind of like you're just pulling on the line. It's like that leads to more research and development of this, which opens up this idea. And then because it's like this path and this thread that you're following, they all tend to be kind of connected because they're connected to you, and they're connected to, what you're into and what you envision, I guess, or inspired by yourself. So I think it's just being engaged. You're just engaged. You're doing the research. You're kind of. I mean, it's as simple as I was doing a bunch of paintings up here when we were shut down, and I kind of picked three elements: a snake, kind of a rainbow mountain, and a sun and a moon. And I thought, I'm just gonna work these. No pressure on myself. I'm just gonna like underachieve, and I'm just gonna work on these four elements in every painting, just in different configurations. And then one day I was out taking a walk, and there were like these huge, big, white, puffy clouds that were so beautiful. And I came home, and I was like, oh, I'm going to throw some clouds in there. So it's really just, it is. I know the word journey is kind of corny, but it is kind of a journey. And I think that you just really keep your eyes open, and you find it as you go along. I mean, that's the place where everything is. So.
If not clay, what would have been your other medium?
Oh, well, I was gonna make a diaper program because I got really into cloth diapers and these fleece diapers. They're pocket diapers, and I really thought, why don't people use these? Well, it's so simple. Maybe I need to kind of like package this idea so that people can kind of just like, it can be fed to them, and it'd be great for the environment, and they wouldn't have to do all the exploration and figure it out. It's just, but not that. So I guess my other, I mean, lots of things. I don't really know them. Not clay. I mean, I enjoy painting, but I don't consider myself a painter in that. Oh, there's a wasp flying around us. I don't know. I don't know actually. So let's check out the inside of the kiln. Doors heavy. No. So here's the inside. Haven't laid the bricks down yet. The fire comes out from those two back burners, and this is all about air draft. So I don't really know. I'm not a technician. I did not go to school for ceramics. I actually didn't go to. I took like 1 year of art school. So everything I've learned about ceramics is through the kindness and expertise of other people who make ceramics, and just from doing and trial and error. But this is something about a draft. I don't know if it's an updraft, downdraft. So the fire comes in and the heat circulates and then it goes back out and up through the chimney. And this is a soft brick that can get really hot and ship really easily. Um,
Any project you are still looking forward to tackling?
oh, well, I have a huge piece that's going to Cabo San Lucas that's really large. Oh, well, I really want to make, um, I've been really getting into working on these really thick, simple, like deceivingly simple because it's really hard to dry really thick pieces of clay, but making these really thick slabs of clay and painting on them. So I'd love to just have the time to kind of do a lot of them. But when you're in production and making work to order for orders, you actually get a lot really caught up in being behind the eight ball of producing. But it would be nice to have some time to kind of work on. There's also these sculptures that I kind of want to make. I can see one in my head, and it's kind of like a lot of the symbols that I use that I paint, but they're like turning them into 3D, and they're carved, almost like a piece of carved wood or something. They're carved and a little rougher, and that would be really fun to have time to get into doing that.
So this question, I guess, pertains to that. Is any new items you're prototyping at the moment?
Oh, well, I'm doing those. I guess I'm kind of in the process of refining in my mind because of everything that's happened with COVID-19 and everything. I feel like the feeling that I've gotten from it is to simplify a little bit. So I'm actually working on reducing. I'm actually working on reducing the amount of things that I make and then bring certain things back seasonally or like every few years, but like not having them all at the same time because it's actually a lot of to have to make so many different things can get really can be hard. And I'm looking to kind of reduce and simplify. I really want to. My mantra for this whole last 3 or 4 months was to try to find a place where I could actually. I mean, I like to be really organized in my studio. I can get really. It's my Virgo rising. I can get kind of like overly like controlling and organizing and want everything to be in its place. So I really want to try to invite in a little bit more spontaneity, flexibility, and kind of I mean I love what I do and I have a lot of joy doing it, but I want to bring in like a little bit of a softer flow and maybe that's why I feel like if I can reduce the amount of things that I'm making, then I can open up space to make new things because I think that in order to bring in more or different, you kind of have to let go of some of the other things so that you have the space around you and in your mind to do them. Because if you're always just like up against the wall, it's hard to find that space to do it. So that's kind of my hope. Um, Let me show you what I call the afterbirth because when after because after this kiln unloaded, which was kind of traumatic, I this other piece came. It's like the whole back guts to the kiln. It's the burner system. This kiln actually will fire itself, which I've never had a kiln like that before. I mean, the electric kilns fire themselves, but this kiln, the gas kiln, will has a self-programming, so you program it and it will fire itself. Because there are things that you have to do, like at certain temperatures, like cutting off the air and checking the flame, et cetera, et cetera. But let's go to the back.
Also, will you give a little after this a not making tutorial.
Oh, who said that?
Brad.
Okay. So this is, oh, careful back there because there is, what do you call it? Okay, so here we go. This is, which is not attached yet. This is the whole firing burner system. Yeah, I gotta attach it, and I gotta re-watch the videos because I don't actually know how to do it. So it's a little daunting. But first we have to move. Well, first we have to move the kiln because the chimney has to line up a little bit better in between the supports. So that's the kiln. I'm pretty excited about it. Yeah. All right, back to the studio. Okay, so should I do a lino print? Yeah. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so let's do this. The first ones don't usually come out very good because it's, I don't know, it almost seems like it has to get it has to get a little worked. So, of course, you know, my favorite, well, it's not really my favorite color, but yellow is one of my favorite colors too. But okay, so here we go. I like to do the edges first. And you know, you can do this. You go to the art store, you buy this soft, it's almost like a stamp, you know, so it's really easy to cut into. You get the cutting tools. Those are really easy, not expensive. You get the roller. You buy this, the rubber stuff, which actually can be, I mean, it's not crazy expensive, but it can add up for sure if you're going crazy. You get the ink. So it's actually something you can do, and kids like to do it. It's fun, and then you can produce like cards, postcards, anything. You really want to get it on there. The first one, like I said, is not always the best because it seems like when the ink gets a little drier and there's a base to it, but we'll see what happens. Let me see that thing. Whoops. Let me just. So I made some, I put the paper down on top, so I just kind of made guidelines so that I could know. I really figured that out recently because after so many times being frustrated with like the print not lining up on the paper very well, and then, you know, what is that? Necessity breeds invention or something like that? Maybe it's frustration. Okay, so paper. Here we go. So here's some paper. So what I do is I kind of like line it up so that it's centered here, and then I slide it up, and then I drop it, and then it's pretty moist. My hands are so humid today. Then I make sure I get a good pressing everywhere. All right, let's see. Oh, not bad. There you go. So you have like little inconsistencies in the ink there, but I kind of love that because it shows that it's, you know, that it's a print. Here, we'll do one more. Check it out. So you know, I try to get a lot of ink on there, and then I do these edges because I find that if I just start rolling, it just gets too messy, and I fill up all the lines, and then I eventually regret that. Do I have enough ink? This is the question. Okay, let's try one more. All right, so that one's lined up pretty good. Let's see if I can do it better. Plop it down. So this is super easy and fun, and you can totally do this. You don't need that much to do it. I like to make sure I get all the edges well. Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, there you go. Oh, not as good, but not bad. So that's it. That's printing. Easy and it's fun, and it's like really it's tactile and it's immediate. You know, you can just like print off like 20 of them or 30 of them, and it's really satisfying.
Where do you buy the supplies to do this?
You can buy it in any art store. I mean, you could go on, I think I got mine at Blick Arts. You go online, I'm sure Amazon has it. If you Google like lino cut printing, they'll tell you. All you really need is paper, the rubber pad, and also you can get these other ones that are harder. They're like I don't know what the material is, but they're actually difficult to cut into. And I don't know, I feel like that's more dangerous because you can cut yourself, but these are easy. So you need paper, you need the roller and the ink. And that's really all you need. Oh, and the cutters, you need the cutters. I guess, oh, will I do that? Yeah. Okay, so, all right. So, knotting is, okay, so my macrame it's pretty simple. You know, I didn't really, it's not complicated. I'm just making a series of knots. I actually have a piece I have to make that is 9 feet wide soon. So there's a lot of knots. So I try to stay consistent. So I don't know what the names of knots are, but this is a way of looping. So this is one piece of rope looped over, bent in half and looped over the bar and pulled through. And so then I end up with double the ropes. So it's really about consistency, and it's like knitting, you know, you want to have the same kind of tension. So here, all I do here is I make a loop, I pull it through, and then I like, you know, you straighten out so that the ropes follow each other side by side. Then I pull it up and tighten it. And then before I tighten it too much, I make sure that it seems about, you know, even on both sides. And then I kind of do this little twist so that all of my across ones are in the same place.
Yes. How about adding a piece of ceramic to the knot?
I could. I mean, I've actually, there are, in macrame, you can actually put, like you could put a bead in there, or you could, like I could string something on the rope first and then tie the knot, and so something would be hanging there, or you could even put like a bead there and a bead there. I've just never done it. Usually all my ceramic stuff is underneath, but you could totally integrate ceramic, beads, lots of things actually into macrame. So you get this kind of muscle memory happening. And it's like I just do the same thing over and over again. And it is like about tension, like and not being tense or stressed, but the tension, like as in knitting. You want to keep it even. Or you don't keep it even because you want it to be, you know, you want to invite that in, the kind of haphazard, more loose, more which can, a looser, which can be beautiful too. I think that I'm not sure that I have that in my body, but sometimes I definitely look at people's work that's looser, and I'm like, why can't I do that?
Erin asked, any plans for workshops in your studio?
I do actually. I have a friend who wants to, is a silk screener, and we've talked about doing a silk screening workshop. I've sort of sweated. I've, I thought about doing a pinch puff since I have space and I have a yard. I've even thought about doing, I'd love to investigate pit firings, which is kind of seems like a really good fun party trick. Okay. And I've even thought about having like a sale, like inviting like 5 different ceramicists, kind of laying out blankets and stuff in the yard and having like a weekend ceramic sale. That's what I'm really inspired about actually here is that this is going to kind of open up a lot of different things that I can do. It's just going to give me my own space where I can do whatever I want to do. So I think that's going to be fun. I'm really and that's it. Take care.